All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, don't look now, but the Minnesota Timberwolves have the second best record in the NBA here at the break. And I know that the All Star game is about to wrap up, but these Timberwolves, they're on pace for their best season since 2004. But as good as things have been so far this season for Minnesota, will they be able to do it when it counts? And I say that because this Minnesota franchise has only gotten past the first round of the playoffs once, okay, in their franchise history. And we know that this current team is not short on talent, but will they be able to get it done in crunch time? And I say crunch time in the postseason. Now, make no mistake about it. Anthony Edwards, the Ant Man, he's the real deal as he is their best player. And he's also the heart and soul of this team. But as much as we talk about Anthony Edwards, I've said this before. I said this last year when Minnesota was eliminated at the hands of the Denver Nuggets. It's going to come down to their two bigs. I'm talking about Carl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert. And I've said this about Carl Anthony Towns before, and I will continue to say it. Cat needs to be aggressive, in my opinion, which is something that he has not always done. And, in the postseason, the Timberwolves definitely need him to take his game to the next level. Now, under head coach Chris Finch, in a quick period of time, Minnesota has improved defensively as they're one of the top defensive teams in the NBA right now this season. Uh, but with that said, I talked about Cat. I'm also going to talk about Rudy Gobert. Is he going to be the defensive player that the Timberwolves need him to be in the postseason? That's going to be easier said than done because we know what Rudy Gobert can do around the rim, okay, as a rim protector and as a rebounder. But of course, all it takes is a team to spread them out. And it's kind of like you're playing 4 and 5 out there if you're the Minnesota Timberwolves, because then Rudy Gobert becomes a liability. So it's going to be up to Minnesota clearly to maximize his strengths and limit his weaknesses in those postseason situations. But make no mistake about it, this Timberwolves team, they got a strong supporting cast with the likes of veteran guard Mike Conley, Nas Reed, and Jaden McDaniels. And I talked about Chris Finch. He's coaching the Western Conference All Stars tonight. He definitely has to get him some recognition as far as being coach of the year, because I think people expected Minnesota to be a playoff team, but I don't think a lot of people expected what we're currently seeing from these Timberwolves. They're on pace to win 50 games for the first time since 2004. And, Minnesota's only had 350 win seasons in franchise history, and all of those came when Kevin Garnett was leading this team. So, you look at the talent for the Minnesota Timberwolves, and it's there. Okay, it's there. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But it's going to come down to what they can or cannot do in the month of May, in April and May, of course. And you look at OKC; they're currently second in the West. You've got the Clippers at number three, a team that the Timberwolves have beaten twice this year. And you got the defending champs, the Denver Nuggets, not to mention the likes of the Phoenix Suns, the Dallas Mavericks, the LA Lakers, the Golden State Warriors, so many others. And the question is going to be, is and will Minnesota not just be able to hang with these teams? Will Minnesota be able to go out there and win a series and advance and do some damage in the postseason? I look at it like this. Like I said, that defensive intensity is going to have to carry over um, to the playoffs, and we know what Anthony Edwards can do, but it's got to come down to their bigs. We have seen Carl Anthony Towns at times shy away from being the guy. And it's one of those where I'm not saying that he has to be the guy, but he's got to step up. And those are going to be the keys, because you look at how balanced that the Denver Nuggets are, and that was a key to them getting past the Minnesota Timberwolves last year. It's one of those, I think, having a veteran guard like Mike Conley helps this team. Also, Anthony Edwards just plays angry, and I mean good angry, and he's hungry, and I think that has benefited the Minnesota Timberwolves clearly this year, and I think for whatever they're going to try to do in the postseason, because clearly the team's going to the playoffs. It's going to come down to that. So it's got to be that aggression from Ant Edwards, more aggression from Carl Anthony Towns, and they have to keep up the defensive intensity. But at the very least, I do think this Minnesota Timberwolves team is capable of winning at least one playoff series. And I think if they find a way, to do that, because again, all of these guys on this team, for the most part, probably with the exception of Mike Conley Jr., they haven't had a lot of postseason success. So they don't know what it takes to get over that hump. But I do believe if the Timberwolves are able to find a way to get a postseason series win under their belt in advance, I think it would, clearly, be a huge shot in the arm for them. And I think they could be off to the races. But nonetheless, it's been so good so far in the Twin Cities for the Timberwolves. Let's see if they can keep it up come springtime. So, folks, that's going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank all of you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you haven't already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on the X, formerly known as Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it will be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. Now you can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin, and I am signing off. And I'm saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.